Welcome once again for your update from the city of New Hope. Have a chance to talk with the mayor once again to find out what's new in the city. How are you today, Mayor?
Hi, Dave. Just fine. A little warm, but fine.
Yeah, we're hiding inside in the air conditioning as it gets to about 100 in the heat index here. We've got a lot to talk about in the city of New Hope. Let's begin with election discussion. What is the latest that residents need to know? What are some of the behind the scenes things that have to happen to get the election even going?
Well, the primary is coming on the 9th of August, and it seems way ahead of time. But when they do a primary, then they have to print the budgets after that's over. So they're training the judges now for that primary. You can actually go to your polling place on the 9th of August to vote. But if you want to do it ahead of time, you can go to City Hall anytime between 8 and 4:30, and you can vote at City Hall. If you need to register, you can also do that at the same time. So if you've changed residence, or even if you've changed apartment numbers, same building, just a different apartment, you need to re-register. So it behooves you to go to City Hall and get that all done. There's no lines. It's easier to do that than going to the primary at your polling place. So you can do what you wish, but please be sure to vote. It's very important.
All right, more information available on the city's website about the election judges, the whole process that is going on, newhopemn.gov. Let's move to community development, a number of items here. The first is the deadline is coming up quickly for the Rave Awards. Remind us what that is.
Well, the Rave Award is an award we give out to people that have gone a little above and beyond, either fixing the inside of their houses, the outside, or the gardens. And you can nominate yourself or your neighbor if you'd like. And what it is basically we announce the winners. We give them a rock that's engraved. We just want to recognize when people are making that extra effort. And it doesn't have to be spectacular. A few years ago, they gave the Rave Award to a person who actually hand dug the hole to put in an egress window and then put that dirt in the back and made a little garden. So it was just something that was done above and beyond. It wasn't glamorous, but it was worthy of the Rave Award. So please, you've got until the 22nd of July to apply or to nominate your neighbor or yourself.
Very good. And again, the city's website to find out more about that application process. GreenStep Cities program. You might see some of the signs as you drive into entrances of New Hope. What is the latest on that program? Some new things happening.
Well, just recently, if you remember right, one of our houses on 53rd, we actually deconstructed the house so that we had a company do that, so that we could save the lumber and anything inside the house for either reuse or recycling rather than just put it in a dumpster. So after that happened, we applied to the GreenStep program and told them about it. And we got a little, I don't know, an extra step or something in it. But every time we can do something that's best practices like that, it's really beneficial to not only the city, but just to everybody. So it was kind of fun.
Very, very nice. Let's talk about homes one more time. The curbside appeal reimbursement program. Again, remind us what this is. And I think you might have an example of how it's working already.
It is. Well, we've just okayed our third application. And what it is, you have to spend at least $5,000 and you get 25% rebate with that. And so we're encouraging people to apply if they've got a project that has curb appeal. So that doesn't mean anything inside the house, but just the last one was a garage door with windows in it. And that's being installed. So he's getting back a 25% of the cost of the project. So if you're interested in doing that, just contact the city and tell them you want to talk about the curbs appeal program. They'll get you to the right person. And then you can tell them what you're planning on doing, and they'll tell you whether or not that's an acceptable project.
Very nice. Continuing in community development now to a few notes about business. First, the Dakota Growers Pasta. That building has been talked about from the city standpoint. What are some of the updates there?
Well, it's right on 36th Avenue, and obviously they're making lots of pasta. When you make pasta, you have to have fans. And when you have fans, you have noise. It's very noisy. So the city's been working with them to get some noise abatement stuff put in. They ordered some equipment. They reduced the decibels by 1.5, but in fact, they had to reduce it by 6.5. So the city's back working with them, seeing what they can do to help them reduce that. It's very noisy for the neighbors because when those fans are blowing, they're loud and they're blowing 24/7. So we really need to get that noise level down. But we're working on it, and Dakota's working on it too, but it just takes a little more help.
One other note is 5201 Winnetka Avenue. Tell us a little bit about some of the discussions around this property and what's been happening there.
Well, that's a business on Winnetka, and they're parking semis in their parking lot, a lot of them. And to do that, you have to have that screened. You can't just park the things or they're very unsightly. So we've been giving them administrative citations for a few months, and they've been paying the citations, but they haven't done anything about the screening. So finally, they're putting up a fence now. So as soon as that fence is up, we'll inspect it, make sure it's okay, and they'll quit getting the citations. It took a while to get their attention, but I think we have it now.
One other item in community development, a fun item here for people to get involved in, is a golf event that comes up in September. Tell us about who's behind this event and who can play.
Well, the Minneapolis Chamber of Commerce works with the city of New Hope and Crystal. They have a golf tournament. This is their 25th annual. It's the 23rd of September. I believe the cost is $55, and that includes round of golf and dinner and prizes. You can still sign up for that. The website is enormously long, so I would suggest that you call Jeff Elger at 763-531-5119, and Jeff will help you get signed up for that. It does fill up pretty quickly, and so if you're interested in playing, now's the time to sign up.
And it's that beautiful course right behind you there. So great opportunity to get out and enjoy the great outdoors in New Hope. Scattered site housing, just one property to update on. This is the property at 42nd and Boone, and some continued progress happening there.
Well, there is. This is the old treehouse site. And so the SWAT team on the 20th of July is going to do some training there. They've notified the neighbors around, but I'm just wanting to tell people that if you see the SWAT vehicle there, it's not an emergency. They're just simply doing some training. It's not open to the public, and please don't stop your car and watch, because these guys need to do some training. The other thing about that, that property had some pretty decent sized rocks, and they took those rocks over to Fred Sims Park, and they're using them as a border around a flower planting they have there. So New Hope doesn't throw anything away. We try to recycle everything we can whenever we can.
Smart idea. Final note under community development, the business networking group, they are going to be meeting coming up soon here. When and where, Mayor?
They'll be meeting on the 20th at 3 o'clock at Pocket Square. Pocket Square is where the old Mountain Mud used to be off of 42nd. And a surprise guest, we're having Kevin Tiffany, the owner of Country Kitchen, is going to be our special guest. And I'm sure he's going to tell us a little bit about why and what he's doing in retirement. And we want to be able to thank him for all that he's done for New Hope. So we're really happy that he's coming to this.
That is fantastic. Let's go to police. A few updates here. First, Meals on Wheels continues on. How is that program going?
Oh, it's going wonderfully. Brad Callio, our community service officer, delivers these meals, sometimes with another officer, sometimes not. The people that receive them just love to see these guys coming. The other thing is Brad is doing is something called popsicles. There, he goes to the park and gives popsicles to the kids. So the last one he went to was Liberty Park. And if you're interested in where his next stop is, you can look at the Facebook page. It's NHPD. If all else fails, you can call the non-emergency number and they'll tell you. They haven't decided where it's going to be yet. It's kind of spur of the moment, and then they put it up on the boards where it is, but they can always go to the website and see if it's already been established.
Yeah,
but I think that's fun. Kind of a cute thing.
Yeah, great idea.
I want to tell people another thing about our sworn officers. Every one of them have gone through an 8-hour firearms training, and we do this every year. We want to make sure that accidents happen, but we want to make sure that we reduce those accidents as much as we can. So all of our officers have this 8-hour training, and now they're complete with that.
And a final note, we wanted to mention community conversations going on with the police department, finding ways to engage with the community. Tell us about the event with the Human Rights Group.
So 2 of our sergeants in the Human Rights Group have been meeting at Civic Center Park. Usually they don't really know when the next one's going to be, but again, it'll be advertised on the website. And it's from 5 to 8:30. Typically, they try to have something to eat there, like hot dogs or hamburgers or something. And basically, you can come and talk. If I'm available or if any of the council members are available, they'll stop by too. It's a good time to be able to talk to not only Human Rights Commission and the police officers, but the council and me.
Another item under Public Works would be they have been a very busy group getting out and prepping for events. So not something you think of too often, but if a big event happens in the city, there's got to be someone that helps set up part of it. And this is the group apparently, Mayor?
Well, Public Works does a lot of things that people don't even notice. And we like to give them lots of credit for all the stuff they do. But this last week, they've been really busy getting the parks ready. So they had to get the park ready for the Pub42 Softball tournament. And they had to get the pool in that area ready for that swim meet. And there's a volleyball tournament at Hidden Valley Park that they get ready for. So not only do they make sure the grass is cut and things are trimmed and the nets are where they're supposed to be, they go back and make sure that the garbage is picked up and the park looks like it did before the tournament. So there's lots of stuff that goes on that nobody really notices, except if it doesn't happen.
Exactly. That's
So
right.
these guys are really busy keeping our parks and keeping the city nice.
Hats off to the crews for all the work they do. Infrastructure improvement projects, a little update here. We've got some pictures to share of some of the progress moving along. It looks like we're moving ahead well.
Oh, we are. This is north of Bass Lake Road on Independence. So they had to put in a new water main. And then, of course, when they do that, they disrupt some of the driveways. So they've been fixing the driveways last week and this week. And then when that's done, they'll put that second layer of asphalt down. And then it'll be almost ready. They'll do some restoration beyond the curbs and things like that. Right now, when it's so hot, they can't put seed down. So you're gonna have to wait a little while and they'll give you some instructions on what to do with that once they put that down. But it's gonna look kind of yucky for just a little while, but pretty soon it'll look really nice.
It will. A handful of items in Park and Rec as they are very busy this time of the year. You've got information about a couple unique classes going on, one with babysitting and another one with a pretty neat bike ride. Tell us about those.
Well, the babysitting clinic, I think was last week, I'm not sure. They do that every now and then. And again, you can look at the in motion, it'll tell you when that's going to happen. The other thing I heard about is a bunch of youth took their bikes, rode down to the stadium for a Twins game. And that was just a field trip for them. There must have been somebody with them. I'm not sure there was, but there's all kinds of really fun things in that in motion pamphlet. It's just about ready to come out with the fall one, but if you've misplaced your summer one, there's still stuff going on. So stop in the city hall, pick up another one. It's called In Motion, and lots of good stuff going on to sign up yet this summer.
And it looks like some of the regular sessions now for summer are wrapping up here. Tennis, soccer, adult pickleball, all sorts of things happening. But again, look to In Motion to find out when the next batch of those might be coming up. Let's talk about a neat event at Northwood Park. What happened there recently and who was recognized very well deserving?
So Northwood Park is the park on Boone and about 38th. And in 1963, we hired our first Park and Rec director. His name is Harvey Feldman. And Harvey's job was to establish some parks in New Hope. And so he told me for $30,000, he bought the property that is now Northwood Park.
Wow.
What a bargain. And when they told him to get some parks started, they didn't give him a budget. They said, oh, you can just go find the money somewhere. So Harvey was only with us for 6 years. In that 6 years, he not only established a bunch of parks, he left a legacy of those parks and how they were to be maintained and what they were going to be. And so there's a bridge at Northwood Park that goes over what used to be the little creek there. And we dedicated that bridge last Tuesday to Harvey. And he was pretty happy about that.
Very nice.
He was very instrumental in our whole park program, and we should be thankful to him for that.
All right, something people can remember when they head over that bridge. Let's talk about the Off-Broadway Music Theater. This group has been preparing for months and months, and it's about showtime.
It is Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat. And it starts this weekend. It's Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. It starts about 8 o'clock. It's at our new theater at Civic Center Park. Just reminding people we don't have bleachers anymore, so they need to bring a lawn chair or a blanket to sit on. It's a tiered area that goes down to the stage. So that should start about 8 o'clock. They're asking people for a $5 donation to help offset the cost. And if you want to bring something for the food shelf, a non-perishable food item, that would be great too. They're always fun to see those plays, and it would be nice to have that theater company back doing plays for us again.
Fantastic. Another item under Park and Rec, you mentioned it a little early. The people from Public Works preparing the fields for the Pub42 tournament. This was softball, and I understand it went very well. Tell us more.
It did. That was last week. Well, as you know, Duck Duck Days kind of morphed into something called Hay Days, and that wasn't going over real big either. So Pub42 decided to take over the softball tournament. So that was last weekend. And of course, Public Works got the fields already. And as always, we have a lot of people participating in that tournament. And it was just a huge success, as it always is. So we've got some parts of Duck Duck Days still with us. And that's how Duck Duck Days started, with the softball tournament. So we're kind of back to where we started.
All right. Let's talk about some of the Park and Rec facilities. Just a quick update on how busy they are. First, the golf course. There were lots of young golfers there this past weekend. I happened to drive by and looked at the parking lot, and lots of little people running around with golf clubs. Looked like they were having fun.
Well, they were having fun. I'm reading this. This is the Minnesota PGA Junior Golf Mini Tour. There were 69 kids between the ages of 7 and 12, and it's really cute to watch them because the teams all dress alike. And they all got little matching shirts on, and some of them are pretty little. They're like 7 years old. So the tournament was all day on Saturday. It was really, really busy. And in the meantime, they had a end of life celebration in the back of the clubhouse. So that area is being used an awful lot, and we're really excited to have it.
Another area being used heavily is the ice arena at this hot time of the year. What's happening inside the walls of the arena?
Well, this is a great time to be at the ice arena.
Yes.
So the high school high performance teams are trying out. So they have these kids that are trying out for that. They're always doing maintenance over there. They're having open skating again, so that's open for people to do. That ice arena is so busy all the time, even in the summer.
Yep, stop by and cool off there. And final note is the swimming pool and aquatic park. And if you noticed, it was a little busy this weekend. There was a very good reason. What's the count on numbers? That was a place to be.
That was the place to be. Well, when we built that pool, the state gave us $2 million to put in 8 lanes, or to help pay for the 8 lanes of 50 meters of the swimming laps, so that the swim teams could be there. One of the things we also agreed to was that we would rent that exclusively to the New Hope swim team for this regional event. So the teams were coming from all over the state for this event. There were 2,700 swimmers there, and they did 40 heats in the 2.5 days. We really don't like to close the pool when it's so hot in the middle of the summer, but we wouldn't have the pool we have if we hadn't gotten that money from the state. And so that was part of the deal with them. So it's back to being open, and everything's just like it was before. So there's a lot of kids there today. We've had just enormous turnouts. So they're still doing walking in the morning, and they're doing lessons in the early morning. And of course, open swim from noon on. So come down and get cool. It's the place to be.
It is. And speaking of being back open too, that affected the farmers market and food truck Friday. But this coming week, we're back to normal there. Is that correct?
It is. Well, because when you have that many people there, we knew that all of the parking lot was going to be full, and all these people, and we just didn't want to make any more confusion. And there was no place to put the trucks for Food Truck Friday either.
Right.
So Food Truck Friday will be back on Friday, and that's 11 to 2, and that's at the City Hall parking lot. And then the farmers market just in front of City Hall, that'll be 9 to 1, and that'll be on Saturday. So we're back to being normal again.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Final note to pass along here. Neat story in the Sun Post recently about a couple neighbors coming together and cooperating on a pretty neat project. What happened?
Well, there's 2 neighbors over in New Hope, and there was a chunk of land between them. And these 2 women decided to put a garden in there. Well, one of the neighbors moved away, and the one neighbor was kind of worried about the garden between the 2. And lo and behold, this young couple moves in, and she's got a farming background.
Perfect.
And so they are keeping this garden between the 2 houses. You know that piece of land between 2 driveways? it's not real pretty and it's like, who's gonna mow it? Well, they don't have to worry about that. It's just a big blooming garden. And each of them have a different idea of how gardening should be.
Okay.
One wants it more natural, native plants. The other one wants it a little more formal. It works.
Yeah.
It works for both of them. So it's really cute to see it. You should read the article in the Sun Post if you haven't already.
Sounds great. All right. Well, as you see, a lot going on in the city of New Hope. And as always, go to the city's website to find out more, newhopemn.gov. And we've got some events coming up. Stick with us for just a second here. We'll run some of the things that are coming up in the next few weeks. Mayor, thanks again for your time. Always great to talk with you. And we'll talk again next week.
Thanks, Dave. See you then.
Learn more about the connection at ccxmedia.org and follow us on social media.